Good morning, everyone. My name is James Malonis. I'm your 2021 OREA YPN chair. And today I am joined by my fabulous committee with Matt Richling, Laura Tourangeau, Marissa Arnold, Mercedes Burton, and Ashley Polischuik. And we're going to talk all things volunteering, both in real estate and in our communities. So good morning, everyone. I invite you to unmute yourselves. And I just want to start off, let's go around the room and just give a quick little introduction of the region that you work in and how you got started in volunteering. So we'll start with Ashley.
Oh, starting right with me. Okay. My name's Ashley. I am in Barrie, serving Simcoe County. I do quite a bit of volunteering. Actually, I've been doing it for quite some time. It started back in, I want to say 2010. I was the president of my condo board. From there, I am the current chair of the Barrie Nonprofit Housing Association, treasurer of our local habitat. I also sit on this board. I am on the City of Barrie Affordable Housing Task Force, and I also am on the OREA Commercial Committee chair and our local real estate association board of directors as well.
Amazing. That's a whole resume on its own. We'll get into that in a few moments. Matt. Oh, we can't hear you, Matt. Okay, while Matt figures out his AirPods, we'll switch over to Marissa, who's actually my YPN co-chair and actually sits on the board of directors at OREA with me.
Good morning, everyone. Yes, as James said, I am your OREA Northern Ontario Director. I am the Vice Chair of OREA's YPN Committee. I'm a real estate broker and manager in the Sudbury market. I've always sort of volunteered ever since I was a teenager. It's always something that I've actually enjoyed doing. Right now, I also do work with the Infant Food Bank and Pregnancy Care Center here in Sudbury, and I also do work with the Easter Seal Society in Sudbury as well.
Amazing, thank you. Matt, are you good to go? No. Okay, let's give Matt a few more seconds. Mercedes.
Hi, sorry. Hi, yeah, so I'm a salesperson in the Durham region. I don't have the same kind of real estate volunteer experience. My experience is more so volunteering in our communities, be it through Sandgate, Shades of Hope, these kinds of organizations that need a little bit of extra help here and there. And this is actually my first time sitting as a volunteer on one of these committees, and it has been such a great experience, and I look forward to doing it again.
Awesome, welcome. We will talk more about community volunteering in a few moments because it's a huge part of what we do as realtors. Laura.
So I'm from Chatham-Kent. I am our local board president this year. I've been involved with various committees with our board and sat on the board of directors for a number of years before moving on to the president role. I also volunteer in the community with my son's hockey team this year, and I've also done various events and one-off community things when needed. So yeah.
That's awesome. And let's see if we can get Matt.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
There we go. You pay all this money for this, all this equipment, and you hope it works properly. So my name is Matt Richling. I've been in the business about 15 years. I've volunteered quite a bit in our local board. Now, obviously, this is provincial, and done some stuff down in the States with different organizations, and then obviously some community stuff as well. So.
And Matt is actually one of the Inman ambassadors for Canada. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, it's been a fun year so far because of COVID. We've only had one in-person event, but now we're gonna have another one next year. So that's gonna make up for it.
Of course. And one thing I can say about the five of you here is you're all busy selling real estate daily. It's not like you have nothing else to do. You volunteer and sell real estate. And for some of you, you're moms or dads, and you guys are busy, right? And it's amazing what you can do in the quote unquote spare time that we have in this industry, which sometimes can feel like there's none, right? So I do want to just get started in here. Laura, how did you get started with volunteering?
Yeah, so I've basically volunteered my whole life. Basically as a kid, tagged along with my mom when she was doing different activities. And then once I got to school, got involved with various volunteer opportunities with them throughout high school. And I just basically continued that throughout my adult life. So when it came to volunteering with the local board and getting involved in organized real estate, it just kind of came naturally to me. I had always been doing different community events, planning some fundraisers, things like that. So it was just kind of a natural progression and a natural fit when the opportunity came up.
That's awesome. It's funny how just it all falls into place when the timing is right. So Ashley, you said you were president of your condo board. That's one thing of your volunteering, but you sit on like a variety of things in your local market. How did you get involved working on the community housing task force or the affordable housing task force for Barrie?
Well, I was actually asked back in 2018 if I would join the Barrie Nonprofit Housing Association board. They were moving from a externally managed to an internally managed property management for the 900 and some odd units we have. And the board we wanted to make it more of a skills-based board. So at the time, the mayor was he was the chair. And with my experience in real estate, he asked me to join. So I've been on that since 2018 and became the chair in early 2020. And as one of the largest landlords in the city of Barrie, Simcoe County, actually, I was asked to join the City of Barrie Affordable Housing Task Force because we have a significant problem in our area with affordability. I mean, we're more expensive to rent right now than Toronto is. So we kind of went to a lot of the key stakeholders, and I was asked to volunteer for that. And I have been for about 3 or 4 months now. We've been working on that.
That's awesome. I think we can take this into a whole other conversation down the road. I was with the housing minister last night talking about affordable housing. So I think we're all in agreement here that we do need that. But to keep us back on track, Matt, how did you get involved volunteering with Inman? Because that's a whole different ballgame because you're now going internationally.
Yeah. So for me, a lot of it started, when you think about that path, a lot of it really started with the local level. And that was just so that I could understand more about what was going on, right? It was really self-serving at the time. You don't really think, oh, I'm going to do this to pay back, for what I've done. And it was really a self-serving thing when I got into volunteering on one of the board committees, right? Which was the first one was MLS and tech. So I was really just learning about the rules, and that was a blast. And you learn a lot about that, and you have a lot of fun. And then fast forward, right, you start realizing, oh yeah, it's actually giving back. It's actually helping out. It's actually a position that you're volunteering your time for, and it's been super helpful. And then the Inman stuff really just came about because I tried. I wanted to, right? Like you kind of sit there going, okay, this is something that I'll obviously get something out of, right? We all get something out of doing what we do. We all get something out of volunteering. So I'll obviously get something out of it. And it's been an amazing experience to be able to network and to connect. And so how did I do it? It was just, I applied. I just tried. I reached out and raised my hand and said, I'll try.
And I think that's the biggest thing people take away is just applying, right? The opportunity is not going to find you. You have to find the opportunity. So Mercedes, I want to take this outside of real estate for a second, because you volunteer a lot in your local community with shelters and community-based events. Was that a natural fit for you with your life prior to real estate, or did it kind of just come in with real estate? How did you get involved with that?
Actually, it was completely random. I'm the anomaly here. I didn't really volunteer much when I was younger. I just too busy, going to parties and being wild and crazy. So actually, after having my daughter, I realized that there is definitely a void where we do need to help these people that are in need. So yeah, I might not do a lot of stuff volunteering real estate wise. However, we saw that there was a need for women's shelters that need services, they need help, they need clothes, this kind of stuff. And after having my first child, I was like, I see how hard it is as someone that is fully employed. So my natural thing was, hey, we need to help these other people that may not have it as nice as I do.
Yeah, and it's great when your community sees what you do, because we can all agree that we are influencers in our markets, in our industry. The public looks up to us and they pay attention to what we do. Obviously, they see a lot more of the negativity with, the bad apples out there, but there's a lot of good that gets done with realtors. And whether it's within the industry or in your community, that takes notice and they will follow suit. So even though you feel it's a small act, people will be following what you do and get involved that way. I do want to move on, and I do want to lob this question to Marissa, who is our Northern Ontario Director for the Ontario Real Estate Association. How has been volunteering at the Provincial Association been so far?
You know what? I had no idea what to expect because previously I had volunteered at the local board level, and our board has 400 members. So it's a bit of a small board. It's been a ton of fun. It's been completely different than anything I've ever done with our local board. I've learned a whole lot. I've been able to bring a whole lot back to our community and back to our board members, which has been great. But yeah, I had no idea what to expect. It's exceeded my expectations. The ability to connect with other people in our industry and to really, really learn what makes our industry tick and what makes real estate go around in Ontario has been amazing.
I'm seeing some nodding heads here, and we can comfortably say that when you volunteer within an association, you see the operational side of real estate and how it actually runs. And it's not as easy as people think. Like, we see a lot of crap that goes on, and we have privy to a lot of things that the general public or the average realtor who doesn't volunteer sees. I just lost my question here. Give me a second. Sorry, my screen just went dark. Laura, what has been the biggest benefit of volunteering for you? Like, you are so busy. Like, you run a brokerage, you are your local board president, you sat on YPN with me for 2 years now, you have a child, you're a busy mom. Talk to me.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, honestly, I hate to say it, but it's just something that you do. I found I liked being involved. And again, like Matt said, it is self-serving. That's how I originally got involved with volunteering at our local board. So that was just one of those things, but I found it to be such a huge benefit. But it's giving back, it's giving your time, and it's helping the industry grow and evolve. So yeah, you find a way when you're passionate about something, when it's fun, it doesn't feel like a chore. So even being president of our local board now, it's something that I enjoy doing. It's something I have fun with. So I don't really see it as, an extra time constraint, and you figure it out.
Yeah. Ashley, I want to ask you the same question. What has been the biggest benefits of volunteering for you?
Oh gosh, my market's pretty small, and it's been at first I got into it because I don't have kids, and so I had lots of time per se, and I wanted to do some more just outside of work. And now I'm finding that people actually come to me to ask questions. They're starting to see that I'm in the industry, that I'm also doing a lot with affordable housing, that I'm doing a lot. I'm on Habitat as well. And people actually start to come and they use me as a resource now based on what I've been doing. And to me, that means a lot, because people actually trust what I say and what insight I provide. And I appreciate that, because it's something that I have been very passionate about. We do have a serious crisis here. So the fact that people will come to me for answers, it means a lot.
Yeah, it's amazing how much change we can do with our voice.
Mm-hmm.
Mercedes, you're kind of newer to the volunteering world. So how has volunteering impacted your business?
I actually have a lot of younger, newer real estate agents that reach out to me just because they're made aware that I am sitting on this committee. And it's been really kind of an awesome, surreal feeling to provide some good insight to individuals that are just starting out in this crazy, crazy industry.
Especially the market we've been in for the last 2-3 years.
It's
right?
Yeah, it's been insane.
Matt, again, I don't want to make this Inman centric, but how has volunteering with Inman impacted your business?
Well, I think the same way that any of the volunteering has, right? Just on a different scale, but it's the network, right? Like, we, even on a local level, or whether it's an Inman level, the network of people that you're volunteering alongside, or that you're helping, or that you're just communicating with, is such a great group of people, because again, they're all dedicating their time as well, just like all of us here, right? So it's putting you in a room with like-minded people that are trying to improve something with no pay, and so that's been great, right? Really enhancing the network of people. That's been probably the best thing.
Yeah, and you said the word network a few times now, and is it fair to say that your network is your net worth?
100%.
Right. I think that speaks volumes. Marissa, as we're leading into the new year, OREA is going to be calling for volunteer applications probably within the next couple weeks, maybe a couple months. What advice would you give to realtors who are looking to get started in organized real estate?
Don't be afraid. There's a lot of fear there when it comes to new realtors entering the market and entering this that they're afraid that they're not talking about. You know what, honestly, young new blood is exactly what we need. So have no fear. I'm sure everybody on the OREA board of directors and everybody on an OREA committee would happily talk to you about what it means to volunteer and would happily encourage you and walk you through what needs to happen. Have no fear, just do it. It'll feel good and you'll learn a ton.
100%. Sorry, I'm just trying to make sure there's no questions coming in at the same time. Okay. So we've kind of talked about how busy you all are, personal lives, volunteering, business. How do you balance it all with your work, your family, other commitments? How do you guys, I'm going to just open it up to whoever wants to pop in there.
I don't
Well,
know.
I'm lucky. My team is very supportive of being part. Part of our motto is to be part of the community that we help build. So my team is actually really, really supportive. When when I have to do things related to volunteer, we all do it, and we all kind of pick up the pieces there. Luckily for me, my personal life is heavily intertwined with my volunteering life. So I'm one of the lucky ones that has the extra time and a team that completely supports me.
Awesome.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you don't have a passion in it, you're not going to make time for it. And if you don't enjoy it, you're not going to make time for it, right? And so I think everyone here has made time for it because they enjoy it. So.
And for me, just finding that balance, just to not get too involved. I find having that personal time carved out and basically making that a non-negotiable, you fit everything in around that. But I mean, making sure that you do take care of yourself and you do have that personal time, that's huge. So I have my appointments in my calendar for, my personal things or family time. That's my non-negotiables. So sticking to that, and everything else, you'll find a way to fit it in.
Love that.
I was going to say a whole lot of caffeine and running on adrenaline. However, I have a very supportive team as well. Our team has done a lot of volunteer work. We collaborate together. We find time together. We designate tasks to different people. Some people have strengths in finding one thing. We might have a strength somewhere else. So we definitely delegate there. And definitely, like everyone else has said, carving out that family time and making sure that time is non-negotiable. I will never miss one of my daughter's hockey games. Sorry, Saturdays and Sundays are fully booked. But yeah, we work around it.
Love that. Marissa, any final thoughts on that?
Yeah, I just want to touch on the personal stuff. Having a great team around you is important, but having a great personal team around you is important, is even more important. A supportive family, supportive tribe, whoever that is, supportive friends. My friends totally get now that if I'm with them and I've got to pick up the phone, it's just a normal thing. They don't think it's rude. My husband completely understands when I have to leave for a showing or leave for a board meeting, or when I tell him I'm going to Toronto for 2 days for board meetings and you can't come because I want time alone. He gets it. So a supportive team is important, but a supportive tribe is even more important. And to be completely honest, I have no idea how I fit it all in. It just happens because I love every single thing that I do.
All these comments making me so happy right now. Just, it's great coming off the high of yesterday being Giving Tuesday. And I kind of wish this was yesterday, but we do our webinars Wednesday mornings. It fit in perfectly. It was the right time of year. And then going forward with the application being open for the OREA board right now is open for applications. The Ontario Realtor Cares Foundation is open for applications. Committees will be starting, I believe, in January. We've got mentorship programs, a lot of things coming up. And it's a great way to kind of wrap up the last quarter of 2021, bleed into 2022, and just keep the momentum of volunteering going. One question I have for you guys, and this is something that I personally struggle with, is saying no. Someone comes to me, can you sit on this committee? Can you volunteer for this charity event? Can you write a check for this? Can you show up and present this? How do you guys say no? Do you say no? Because I don't. I don't know how to.
I've actually personally, I'm luckily that I'm very, very involved with a lot of things. So when I have to say no, and I can say like, I'm already on 4 or 5 boards, I'm already doing this, most people understand. I try to be pretty generous with my time, but you do learn to say no. And it, when people understand how involved you are, especially people that know you, they can respect that, because everybody has to have some personal time, and everybody has to have work time. So most people do understand, and saying no isn't often as difficult as people think.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'll echo that. Setting healthy boundaries is something that's very difficult for me, because I want to do everything. I want to be everywhere. I have serious FOMO. It's taken me a lot of years and a decent amount of therapy to finally be able to learn how to set healthy boundaries. And there's a way to say no and be kind about it, and people generally are respectful of it. But therapy is my answer.
100%.
Matt, I see you nodding there. Anything else you want to add to that?
Therapy is so key. I think it's not talked about enough, and I think everyone should have that in their in their pencil case of tools. But no, I'm in a really big yes moment right now. So we're trying to say yes to a lot of things and take a lot on. But it's what I realized through that is it's being very specific on those yeses. Right. So I'm still saying no, but it's just to a different level of things. That's the biggest thing. But just raise your hand and apply. That's everyone. Just if you're listening and you're not sure, just do it. Just try it out. Everyone's nodding their head because it's true. Right. That's where we all started from. We just raised our hand and said, yeah, you know what, let's try this out. So.
If anyone was in Niagara last year at the conference, the last conference I think anyone ever had, Chris Voss spoke about that, about saying no gives people comfort, and allowing people to say no gives people comfort. It's actually a huge negotiating factor. And I have taken that and I've used it quite a bit. And if you don't know about it, I encourage you to read it, because allowing people to say no gives people a sense of power. And oftentimes it actually works in your favor, than more so than them saying yes.
Yeah, and going back to the Niagara conference, that's how I got involved years ago. Was I attended the Boost event, which was the annual YPN party that we throw after the AGM. So the reality conference is every 2 years, and the AGM is every year, but there's no like big conference on the opposite years. But there's always a Boost event. So I showed up one year and I loved the vibe. It was great energy. I think Bradley Mayer Harmon was a former OREA director. He was the chair of YPN at the time. We connected. Josh Klein, who was the TREB YPN chair at the time, we connected. So I sat on both committees, and that's how I got involved. Just sat on a committee, and then I ran for the board the following term. And I've always volunteered, but getting involved in organized real estate, I wouldn't say has helped my business from a referral perspective. Maybe as we're going to talk about in a few seconds, but it's helped my business from I understand that now better, right? Like I see how things work. I see the operational side, and why sometimes, COVID was a great example of why things didn't happen immediately, because it's always a board approval, and there's a whole process of how things happen. There's governance and bylaws in place that protect us as realtors, which in turn protect our consumers. Sorry, totally off topic. It happens to me all the time. Before we get into referrals and networking, one last question I have out of my little list here is, how do you guys choose which opportunities to pursue every year? So I know there's a lot out there. How do you choose what you want to go after?
I'll happily take that on. I choose things that I would enjoy doing. If you asked me to volunteer at a hockey game and referee a football game, I would tell you no, thanks, but I would hate doing it. If you tell me that there's an opportunity to volunteer with children, or to do something in my dance community, or whatever the case may be, choose something that you're passionate about. If you love hockey, get involved and start coaching a little league hockey team. If you love kids, get involved with an infant food bank. If you have a draw to the homeless population, or someone in your family has been affected by drugs, or whatever it is, just do something that you're going to be happy doing. Because if you're not going to be happy doing it, you're going to hate every second, and you're not going to want to do it again. You're not going to want to continue. So for me, it's just choosing things that resonate with me and who I am.
Thanks, Marissa.
I'll continue on with that, as also saying, I think it depends on where you want to go or what your goals are, right? Like, just hearing James, he might want to be TREB president, right? And so he's gonna, yeah, see, I don't know, right? But and then you kind of, but then you work your way there, right? And you just start and you go, okay, well, will this get me there, right? Will saying yes to this project get me to where I'd like to be, right? And maybe it's not, and maybe it's a no then. So that's but you've got to have the passion. If you don't have the passion first, then obviously that's a no-go.
Yeah, I mean, I'm only shaking my head at the president's thing because I couldn't do it. I think, Marissa, you're president of your past board, were you not? No, you weren't. Okay, so only Laura was president of her board, is president of her board. I don't know. I mean, I know Kevin Krager, who's the current TREB president. I know Lisa Patel, who's the past TREB president, who's actually on our committee as well. The amount of time and effort that goes into being president of your local board, and especially TREB, which is like the largest board in North America, but like how they do it, I don't know. Yeah, Laura, again, I applaud everything you do because your hands are so full.
Lots of caffeine and having, we've got some really good board members as well, and having another good executive committee. So we all pull together and we get everything done. So you know what, when you have great people to work with in that regard, it makes the job a whole lot easier.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything else we want to talk about with opportunities to pursue before we move on? No? Okay. I do want to circle back to one point here because we are going into the holiday season and it can be very stressful. Marissa, you talked about therapy, and OREA has LifeWorks with Mona Chappelle. Can you give us a brief plug for that for realtors, just if they need that mental support on where to go?
100%. For the record, I think every adult needs to be in therapy on a regular basis, whether you think you're doing well or not. Therapy is a really great thing. I'll plug LifeWorks a little bit, especially going through the pandemic and how busy everybody has been, and how every time we turn on the news, it's negative and it's this and that and the other thing. OREA partnered with Mona Chappelle a couple of years ago to create or to provide us with a program called LifeWorks. I'll pull it up on my phone and I'll put it on the screen. But essentially, LifeWorks is an app that you can download on your phone, or you can go to orea.com/LifeWorks. Just there as a resource for realtors and their families to help with our mental health. When you log into the app, it'll ask you a bunch of questions. It'll do an assessment, and the app will actually establish sort of what it believes you might need in terms of mental health. There are podcasts available. There are articles available to read. If you want, the app can actually help connect you to a series of therapists in your area, or virtual therapists. I've downloaded the app. I've used the app. I've listened to a couple of podcasts. I think it's fantastic, and I think everybody should take advantage. So give me 2 seconds and I'll find it.
Thanks,
Marissa.
Marissa.
She's put it in the chat already. Julie's dropped it in the chat for you.
It in the chat. And for those wanting to go back, we did a webinar with Mona Chappelle, I believe in the spring. So if you go back to OREA's YPN Facebook group, you will see it in the archives. And I believe it's also live on the OREA YouTube channel. Julie, correct me if I am wrong, but I believe it lives on both. So you can go back and take a look at that. So I do want to move on because I want to be cognizant of everyone's time. We're still ahead of schedule, but Mercedes, there's a question for you here. And you talked about members reaching out to you. Is that is it referrals? Is it organic leads in the community? Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so because I've sat on this committee for this year, and everyone knows YPN is Young People Network. It's a fantastic starting place for a lot of people that are just starting out in this industry. So I've actually had a few friends that have recently jumped on the real estate career, and because they know that I sit on this committee, they've reached out personally and said, hey, whatever, right? So that's been really fulfilling for me personally. And honestly, without volunteering, I would have never had that really good, genuine feeling of fulfillment from helping people move forward with their careers. So maybe they're not referrals business-wise, but they are definitely contacts that I will cherish for the rest of my life. And hopefully, eventually they will turn into referrals, because these new members are from all over Ontario.
And even in your community, is it fair to say that by volunteering, you're getting in front of the audience that you want to work with?
Oh, exactly. Yes, most definitely.
Right? Like if you're trying to get into, maybe the luxury market or the charity crowd, you want to be in front of them. You're going to volunteer with the committees or events or task forces that they volunteer with, just so you get yourself in front of them.
Exactly.
And then going back into networking, other than Marissa, I don't think I've met anyone else on this panel in person, but through the power of social media, we feel like we know each other. With volunteering comes networking. With networking comes friendships and opportunities. Can you guys talk about some of the relationships you've built through volunteering that are beneficial to you?
Yeah, I'll go. I mean, so two aspects to this. I mean, even locally, just volunteering and getting to know your local agents and your local board a little bit better. When you have to do a deal with them, sometimes when you do have a good relationship with them, things go a little bit smoother than somebody that you might not know at all. So that's had its paybacks for me personally. And even having a network throughout the province, throughout the country, even, it's nice to piggyback some ideas on one another. If we're going through things in our market, just being able to brainstorm and bounce ideas and find out what's going on throughout the province. It's nice. You can take that back and have conversations with your clients. And if you do have referrals to send, then, hey, I know a great realtor here, and it helps build your credibility with clients.
Absolutely.
100%. I was just going to say, like, I joined Habitat several years ago because, like, I like it. I knew their mission and I thought it was great. And I ended up doing one of the biggest deals of my career through the people I met through Habitat. And they trusted me, they knew my work ethic, and it ended up being probably one of the biggest deals in Simcoe County at the time. So it was a great learning experience, and it was just the people that I knew on the board, and they trusted me. And I think just putting yourself out there so people can get to know you, and not just the business side of you, really helps people feel comfortable with you and wanting to work with you.
Absolutely. I see a lot of nodding heads here.
I never would have had the pleasure of meeting James had I not been on the OREA board of directors. So for that, I'll be forever thankful.
Marissa and I, this is a total sidebar here. With our volunteering at the OREA board, we were at an event in I guess, September, and we got to really enjoy each other's company and get to know more about each other. And then now it's bridged that referral gap. It's also bridged a friend. So when you can pick up the phone and call and say, hey, like, I just need to vent for 5 minutes, right? And whether it's something you're volunteering with or just a personal thing, it's something you just need a break outside of your current friend group. Maybe you want to keep it a little more private, but you have someone you trust, right? And it's that relationship where if you're at a conference and you're sitting by yourself at a restaurant, you see someone you volunteer with, they're going to come sit with you. So you never feel like you're alone, because it's just one big, gigantic, incestuous family. I mean, it's kind of true. So those are all my questions. I do want to open it up to the attendees. If anybody has any questions, please drop it in the chat, and we will look at wrapping this up shortly.
I have a question.
Okay.
What would you do differently? If you could go back now, what would everyone do differently?
Oh, good question.
Start long ago. Start way, way earlier. I would have definitely jumped on one of these committees the year I got my license. I wish I did that.
Exactly what Mercedes said. When I got my license, I was in my early 20s, and I was scared. I was scared of the old boys club realtors, or realtors who had been in the industry for years. I was intimidated by them. And so I did not start volunteering at my local board level until years after I got into the industry. I should have started right away. I would have learned the business of real estate a lot faster. I would have made a lot of connections a lot faster, and I probably would have grown my business a lot faster as a result.
Like 100%. And I'm going to actually go with what you said earlier. And I know I thanked you offline. I actually would have started doing therapy a lot earlier, because I used to have a lot of anxiety. I used to have a lot of trouble managing time. And now that I actually am doing exactly that, going to therapy and going through the process and learning a bit more about myself, it has allowed me to stabilize my schedule, not feel anxious about commitments, and actually work through a lot of things. And it's actually opened up the door to so many more opportunities. And I so thank you for bringing that up, Marissa, especially coming to Christmas, because I don't think people realize how much of an issue that is.
Really great question, Matt. If I don't see anything else in the chat, I am going to look at wrapping this up unless you guys want to add anything else.
I just want to maybe touch on the social media aspect of charity and volunteering.
Yeah.
Not everything needs to be a publicity stunt. The board stuff and the stuff and stuff like tonight, like dancing with the Easter Stars or whatever. Sure, shout that off a mountaintop because it's super fun, but not everything needs to be a publicity stunt. You do it because you want to do it, and you do it because you want to interact with people in the community. But if you create a publicity stunt out of it and you start posting all over social media that you're volunteering at the mission or that you're donating to this or doing, it's sort of counterintuitive a little bit. That's all.
Yeah, there's an old saying, I'm going to butcher the saying, but it's basically just like, let your volunteering be done in silence and let other people applaud your success.
Yeah.
So at that note, I do want to wrap up. Guys, I want to thank you so much for spending your Wednesday morning. It's December 1st. This is our last Master Series of the year, and I'm so glad I got to spend it with you guys. Thank you so much. Again, on the heels of Giving Tuesday, this is fantastic, inspiring stuff. I see Fred DeCarolis, who loved it. He's an amazing volunteer in his community as well. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Have an incredible holiday season. We are back January 5th for our next Master Series. Right after the holidays, we're kicking it back, and we're going to get into it for 2022. So thank you guys again, and have a great day.
Happy holidays, guys.
Thanks, James.
Bye.